One of the questions I'm going to talk about in this particular episode has to do with, well, should the officers have been charged with first degree murder or second degree murder? Now, if you've been paying attention and you're up to speed with what's going on, then you know they were actually charged with second degree murder. But some of you have asked about first degree. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on with that. Then, something entirely new, the FBI vaults. We are now going to be going behind the scenes to look at old FBI files, some of them not too old, some of them fairly old, but one in particular that will probably be a separate video has to do with all of those unidentified flying objects that we've been hearing about in the news. I've got an old FBI file about that that may be of interest to you, especially now. We're going to talk about that in this episode too. And then there are a few other things that I could talk about, like the R. Kelly case, Harvey Weinstein. I think I'm going to pass on those. Yeah. But let's go ahead and dive into some of these topics. First of all, let's go to the Tyre Nichols update. Let me put my glasses back on. Not even sure why I took those off. But I'm going to go to, I think, find a law. Nope, I'm going to go to Shelia. All right, Shelia law. And this is Tennessee code here. Criminal homicide, first degree murder. Again, just trying to distinguish and get a better understanding of why they were not charged with first degree murder. A premeditated or intentional killing of another. A killing of another committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate any first degree murder, act of terrorism, arson, like any felony, okay? Or those listed here, might be a better way of saying that. A killing of another committed as a result of an unlawful throwing, placing, or discharging of a destructive device or bomb. And then you have here, and you see what first degree murder is punishable by.
I realized after I recorded this that I didn't do a really good job of talking about second degree murder. So I wanted to bring that back up and really talk a little bit more about this. So as you see, I'm back on Shelia. It says second degree murder is a knowing killing of another, or this second piece that involves drugs. So we're not really talking about those. So in this case, how do you distinguish first degree and second degree? Well, with first degree, we're usually talking about some premeditation. We usually refer to that as lying in wait. This might be a situation where the person stalked the victim to see where the victim was going to be, figured out how they were going to kill the person, whether it was going to be, I'm just going to shoot them, or maybe I'm going to set them up with some sort of poisoning, or I may even go online and do research. All of these things show that the perpetrator was planning this out. The difference with second degree murder is it's usually unplanned. It still can be intentional. It's one of those things where we say they were reacting in the heat of the moment. They got angry. They were passionate about something and took it too far. It's sometimes called a death that is the result of someone being reckless in regards to how they're interacting with another person. It's a reckless disregard for human life. So those are the differences between first and second degree murder. And this is why it may be very difficult for them to say, hey, let's charge with first degree murder, because we don't necessarily have a whole lot of evidence that shows the premeditation. Now, I know there's a lot of rumor out there about how this may have been premeditated, but rumor is very different from walking into court and being able to prove something.
Okay, so I hope that sort of helps a little bit. I know some of you are still going to be saying to yourselves, but they took a life. Shouldn't their life be taken? They took a life. How do we resolve this? For some people, it's just going to be very hard. For a lot of people, this is just going to be very hard, period. There's no way around this not being very hard. This is just a very hard thing that happened. All right, I want to move over to these FBI vaults. I don't know if you've ever realized that they have all of these documents that are FBI records, the vault. I'm going to show you one. I'm going to do this in a separate video in more detail, but I do want to show you this one about the Guy, and I don't know if it's Guy Hotel or how you say the name. I don't know how you say this name here. I guess I should have brushed up on name saying or something like that. But let me see if I can pull this up for you so that you can see this too. And this is the one where we are going to be talking about the UFOs. But I'm going to pull up this record from the FBI records, the vault. And like I said, I'm going to do a whole separate video about what got shot down, because there's some information out there. One group is saying, hey, you shot down our balloon, and what kind of balloon it was. And we're even going to talk about this balloon from China, because I don't think you guys understand how big this thing was. It was huge. But for now, we are going to go to the FBI vault. This is one of the things that I want to be doing a little bit more of, maybe some behind the scenes, but definitely doing some videos about pulling up some of these documents. So first of all, you can see we are on the FBI's page here. They have lots of things at the top here. And then you can actually go over here where they've got some categories listed here. So if you're looking for gangster era documents, there you go. All right, Guy Hotel, Guy Hotel, I have no idea what that is. But on page 2, you can see how old this document is. This is something that's been around for a while. We can see that. It's not something that's new. So this is something that's old that has to do with these UFOs, flying saucers, it says. If you can see this part here near the top right here, flying saucers, that's the subject, information concerning. Over here on the right side, you can see March 22nd, 1950. And then down here, they've got, I guess, special agent's name was marked out so that we can't see that. It says an investigator for the Air Force stated that 3 so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. We've all heard, about the whole New Mexico thing. This is generally what they've been referring to. They were described as being circular in shape with raised centers, approximately 50 feet in diameter. Each one was occupied by 3 bodies of human shape, but only 3 feet tall, dressed in metallic cloth of a very fine texture. Each body was bandaged in a manner similar to the blackout suits used by speed flyers and that pilots, I don't know. Okay, so that's the description there. You've now actually seen the document. Now let's be clear who is saying that they saw this. Okay, an investigator for the Air Force. And I think that's what gives this so much credibility. It does not appear to be a civilian, not a child, not just some man or woman. Remember, this is 1950. So we know who creditable and reputable people look like. And if you say that this is an investigator for the government and for a military agency of the government, well, we're going to be thinking that that person is going to probably be truthful, right? So now we have this document out here, and we have all of these things flying around being shot down, and we don't really know what they are. Of course, now we're starting to get some ideas. People say that they're missing their weather balloons. But now you've seen that. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, giving you a little bit more behind the scenes about what's going on, talking a little bit more about some of these issues, and we'll see how it goes from there. So let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts too about the UFOs and whether or not you think this is some sort of government plan. Do you think they are not telling us everything that's been going on, even now with the things that have been shot down? They didn't go back and say, hey, we have this document from 1950. Do any of these flying objects look like that? Well, it didn't look like it. But it does make you wonder what else is out there that we don't know about. All right, so if you find that you are a little bit more up to speed with what's going on, got a little bit more information, let me know that in the comments too, because that gives me an opportunity to have a little bit more chit chat going on, as opposed to me just reading documents and giving you a few thoughts on some of what's in those documents. All right, don't forget to it's Friday. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and peace.